Today we are going to take up our new topic, which is psychological disorders, and this is lesson number 20 in your self-learning material. Feeling happy or crying when one is hurt are some common actions which we all engage in some time or the other. Most of the time we act as the situation demands us to. That is, we control our emotions and behavior according to the norms of the prevalent society. But if behavior is perceived to occur without any reason or against the context, that is, against the norms of the society, how are you going to evaluate it? It will not be called as a normal behavior, or we can say that it will be termed as abnormal behavior. But again, at some point of time in our life, many of us behave irrationally or away from normal behavior. Does it mean that we have become abnormal? Perhaps not. So what is the definition of abnormal behavior? What are the factors which cause abnormal behavior? And many such other questions arise in our mind. So this program attempts to explain and answer such questions. So before we begin with, let me clear the objectives of this program. So dear learners, at the end of this program, you will be able to explain, number one, the term psychological disorders. You would also be able to enumerate and describe the major types of abnormalities and also describe the symptoms of various types of psychological disorders such as anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, mood disorders, etc. First of all, we will start with the understanding of what do we mean by psychological disorders. As the name suggests, any disorder that presents an individual to function ineffectively in the social domain, or any such pattern of behavior, that is how you are behaving, or the psychological symptoms that are apparent and that cause significant distress to the individual or impairs the ability to work normally in one or the more situations, can be termed as a psychological disorder. The important feature is that the symptoms which a person is showing must represent a serious departure from the prevalent social and cultural norms. Cultural and social norms are being emphasized here because the tradition in each culture differ. Some action which may form an essential part of one culture may be a serious disturbance in others. For example, tribal societies have different norms and cultures. Their way of living and habits will be considered abnormal in the urban context. To determine any behavior as away from normal, 7 considerations are used as the distinguishing criteria. These are, number 1 is suffering, that is when an individual experiences distress and discomfort in his or her own life. So this is the first symptom that indicates that there must be something psychological wrong. Maladaptiveness, which means that a person engages in a behavior or thought pattern which makes it more difficult to lead one's life, and the person is not able to adapt to the life situation. Irrationality is another factor, which means that when you are unable to communicate in a reasonable manner with others. So this is another factor which can be indicative of a psychological disorder. Unpredictability is another factor. Sometimes you might have seen individuals who behave in unpredictable manner. Sometimes nothing has happened, but they will start fighting with you. So unpredictability is another factor which is a symptom of psychological disorder. Then we have vividness and intensity, that is the experience of sensations which are far more vivid and intense than those of other people. That is, sometimes some individuals see those things that the others around them cannot see. So this is another factor, or they see those things with such a clarity or vividness that other person are not able to understand. So this is again a symptom of psychological disorder. When there is observer discomfort, which means that the person behaves in such a manner that it brings in embarrassment to other people as well. So that is the observer discomfort is another symptom of psychological disorder. And the next is the violation of moral and ideal standards, that is whenever we find certain individuals who have a habit of breaking norms, then also it might come under the psychological disorders. As we have understood earlier that normality and abnormality are not very rigid concepts. These are the states of mind, they lie in a continuum and most of us experience them in different phases of life. It can be said that abnormality is the matter of degree to which a set of behaviors of an individual are considered inappropriate as against accepted norms of the society and which are problematic for the person in his or her social functioning and adjustment. Now, let us learn about the various causes of abnormal behavior. There can be many factors which contribute to the causes of abnormal behavior. Some of these factors are the biological as well as the psychological factors, which means that abnormality can arise out of these two factors. So, let us understand the biological factors first, which we all know that biological factors give rise to the abnormal behavior. Let us understand that what is included in the biological factors. So, the biological factors that can create the psychological disorder among an individual can be related to the genetic factors, that is what are the genes that the person has inherited. It can be related to the chromosomal dysfunction or it can be related to the dysfunction in the functioning of the brain or the endocrine functioning of an individual. These all factors leads to the abnormality in the individual. So, the first is, as we have understood, is the biological factors that can contribute to the psychological disorder of an individual. The second that comes in line are the psychological factors. The psychological factors that are causing abnormal behavior are difficult to identify and measure as they work indirectly. The effect is not very predictable, but if one tries to analyze the various processes adopted during childhood, for example, the overprotection or overindulgence of parents or the inconsistent rewards and punishments that have been given to the children, they can also contribute to the psychological factors that will lead to psychological disorder in later life. These factors significantly contribute in the development of maladaptive behavior. So, dear learners, this was all about that what is a psychological disorder, what are the distinguishing criteria that distinguishes among the abnormality and the normality, and how do we know that what factors can be behind the psychological disorder of the person. Let us now try to understand that what are the various types of psychological disorders. The different types of psychological disorders are: number 1, the anxiety disorders, the mood disorders, the schizophrenic disorders and the substance related disorders. Anxiety disorders. All of us have experienced anxiety in our life in some way or the other. Whether it is during examination or waiting for interview results or maybe due to death of a loved one, anxiety is experienced by all of us. We also have our own way of coping with it, but anxiety can take the form of disorder if not treated properly at the correct time. Anxiety disorders are disorders which decrease the performance or social functioning of an individual due to the hyperanxiety situations. Anxiety disorders can be of many types. Some of the anxiety disorders are: first of all, it is generalized anxiety disorder, also known as the GAD. Then we have panic disorders, then we have the phobias, obsessive compulsive disorders, somatoform disorders and post-traumatic stress disorders. Generalized anxiety disorder is the most common form of anxiety disorder. We all have some kind of anxiety in one or the other situation, but when the person experiences excessive stress or excessive numbness, sweating, etc., that hampers the normal functioning of an individual, then the individual is said to be undergoing the generalized anxiety disorder. So, as I said, in the generalized anxiety disorder or GAD, the major symptoms are unrealistic or excessive worry, nervousness, dizziness, sweating, trembling, etc. Tension, difficulty, concentration, etc., which means that you are not able to concentrate. This kind of anxiety disorder is hampering your day-to-day functioning. Then we have next in the list is panic disorder. So what is panic disorder? I will give you one example. Most of us have the fear of lizards, for example. But if the fear of lizards is too much that you are not able to stand in the room where the lizard is, or you are not able to face it, it is known as panic disorder. That means even if you look at the picture of a lizard, you start trembling. So this is the intensity of the panic disorder. That means in panic disorder there is intense anxiety, increased palpitation, breathing difficulty and a sense of helplessness. What will I do if I look at the picture of a lizard? So this is one example to explain you that we might feel anxious to one or the other things that are around us. But when that anxiety is very intense and it hampers your normal functioning, then it is known as panic disorder. What happens in phobia? Phobia is actually, as I said, that you look at the picture of the lizard and you cannot stand by the picture of the lizard in the book. That means it is the irrational fear, and this irrational fear is disrupting the normal functioning of the individual. There can be many phobias, two of which we have described here are, number one, the social phobia. You might have seen some individuals who have the fear of speaking in public. That means they would start trembling when they go on the stage or whenever they are talking to strangers. That means such a person, if such a kind of anxiety of meeting people, of speaking in front of the public or talking to the strangers, hampers the normal functioning of the individual, which means that, for example, if a person has to meet strangers, which is the requirement of his or her job, and the person is not able to do that because of the phobia which he or she is having because of talking to people, then that means that the person has a social phobia. There are some specific phobias, as I already mentioned, that the phobia of lizard, phobia of rats, or phobia of rats, or phobia of cats. Then next in the list is obsessive compulsive disorder. So obsessive compulsive disorder. Have you ever seen certain individual who would be always doubting that if they have locked the door or not? Excessively doubting things around you comes under this obsessive compulsive disorder. That is persistent thought or wishes that intrude into one's consciousness, and the person is unable to stop those obsessions. For example, a mother might feel of murdering her child. She doesn't want to, but the thought keeps coming in her mind and she is unable to stop that thought. So these are known as obsessions. Then we have compulsions. Have you ever seen people washing their hands? We do wash our hands whenever we come from outside, whenever our hands are dirty. But there are certain individuals who would keep washing their hands all the day without any reason. This is one example. This means that the person is undergoing the compulsive disorder. It is an act in which a person is compelled to carry out certain activities despite knowing that it is unnecessary. Obsessive thinking often leads to compulsive acts as well. And the compulsive act here is washing hands again. There can be many other. Next in the list comes the somatoform disorders. So what are somatoform disorders? Sometimes what happens that we have certain kind of physical problems. For example, we feel headaches, but when we go for the scans or when we go for any kind of medication, then we come out with the conclusion that there is no physical cause for the headaches, or sometimes we have weak body pains. So sometimes what happens is that there are certain disorders for which there are physical symptoms, but there is no physical cause. These are known as somatoform disorders. That is, there is no organic basis. Next in the list is mood disorders. Mood disorders are related to the emotions. So, when we talk about mood disorders, what comes in our mind is the depressive disorders, the bipolar disorders and other types of disorders. So, what is a depressive disorder? You might have seen individual, or you might have heard about those people who in some point of their life feels helpless. They feel that there is nothing good around them. They do not enjoy any kind of activity. They would like to finish their life, or they would like to commit suicide, or they would feel helpless, worthless, hopeless. So, that means the individual is going through depressive disorder. There are bipolar disorders. In bipolar disorders, there are two symptoms, which is mania and depression. In mania, the individual has heightened emotions. That means sometimes the person would be so high. In bipolar disorder, if the individual is going through a manic episode, then one example is the individual while driving will drive very rashly or very fast, because the energy is very high, or the person would start singing aloud, or the person would start reciting poems aloud. That means the energy level is very high. On the other hand, when there is depression, the person's behavior would be very low. So, that is bipolar disorder, and there are other types of disorders. Let us understand what are these disorders. So, as I said, mood disorders, the different symptoms of mood disorders, as I have been explaining, are the dissatisfaction and anxiety. That is, you would feel dissatisfaction with everything which is around you, and you would always be anxious. There is change in appetite. Sometimes you feel like eating too much, or sometimes you feel like eating nothing at all. When the individual is having such disorders, there is disturbances of sleep. That means, for example, in mania, the person would not like to sleep, or the person in the other psychological disturbance or mood disturbance would be sleeping all the time. And there is psychomotor dysfunction, that is, the person would have certain sudden weight loss, because as I said, there is changes in weight, in appetite as well. The person is not able to think clearly. What do I do? How do I come out of my problem? Why am I having such symptoms? So, these all are not clear to the individuals. And as I mentioned, the person under these kinds of disorders might feel committing suicide. So, the thoughts of death keeps coming in. These were some of the mood disorders. There is another category of disorders which is known as substance related disorders, and this is very common. Everyone has heard about substance related disorders, and this is very dangerous. Substance related disorders. You might have seen individuals who are taking drugs. What happens that sometimes when people are suffering from prolonged periods of pain or tension, they resort to drugs. Drugs like alcohol influences the thought processes and actions of the individuals negatively. If these drugs are used for a longer time, then they causes deterioration in attention, motivation and motor coordination. People have suffered losses in their personal and social life because they were taking these drugs. To help a person suffering from the disorder, there are following issues, or to help a person suffering from the a substance related disorder, the individual can be helped in these manners. This is, first is detoxification. Detoxification means that detoxifying the body of the individual who has been taking drugs. This is done by the doctor. Then what happens that when somebody who has a habit of taking drugs, and when the person stops taking drugs, then there are certain kinds of withdrawal symptoms that appear in. So, in order to ease those withdrawal symptoms, there are certain other drugs that are used for easing the withdrawal symptoms. Then aversive conditioning can be done. Aversive conditioning might have, for example, if you take one drug and you vomit it out, you feel like vomiting. So, aversive conditioning will also help an individual deal with the drug abuse. Then social support is very important, because what happens once this person starts taking drug, it becomes very difficult for the person to come back to the normal social life, because the people or the society would not like to accept the individual. So, if we want the individual to be the society to be a drug-free society, then the social support to such individuals is very necessary. Next come in the line is the psychotherapy. That is, the psychotherapy therapist would be applying a psychotherapeutic technique on the individual who has been taking drugs and would help the person deal with the situation. There is rehabilitation also. For example, there are many centers which the government or the non-government organizations they are running, and they rehabilitate those individuals who have a habit of taking drugs. Then prevention and follow-up is the most important thing. Once a person stops taking drug, it is very important that the follow-up should be done on a regular basis. The next disorder which comes in the list of psychological disorder is schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is actually considered by the experts as the most devastating mental disorder, and it can be defined as a cluster of disorders that are characterized by fragmentation of basic psychological processes such as attention, perception, thoughts, emotions and behavior. This fragmentation leads to serious maladjustments. Patients suffering from schizophrenia do not perceive things happening around them correctly, and they often see or hear things which are not there. For example, if a person has a schizophrenia and the person is alone in the room, the person would feel that there are some forces from the heaven that are directing the person's action. Or if the person is looking at the TV screen, he would think that whatever the newsreader is saying, the newsreader is saying everything which is related to the person who is watching the TV. That person who is watching the TV. So, these are some of the kinds of symptoms that are related to schizophrenia. The thinking pattern is very confused of the schizophrenic and disorganized, and they fail to communicate properly with the others who are around them. As already mentioned, schizophrenia is the most devastating mental disorder, and in schizophrenia there is fragmentation of basic psychological processes that we have already talked about. In schizophrenia, as I have already given you an example, that the patient would perceive things that happening around them that are actually not happening. They might see or hear things that are not there. For example, that somebody is watching television and the person is thinking that the newsreader is directing, or the newsreader is telling the person who is watching TV to do certain things which are inappropriate, or the person would hear things from the heaven or from some powerful forces that are directing the person's actions or telling him or her to do something which is not appropriate. So, this is something which is not reality, but the individual who is who has schizophrenia would see or hear such things. Thinking pattern is, as I said, is confused and it is disorganized. There are various types of schizophrenia. First is catatonic schizophrenia, which is unusual patterns of motor activity. In this catatonic schizophrenia, what happens? Suppose, for example, a person takes one posture and the person would remain in that posture for a long time. This is catatonic schizophrenia. Then we have disorganized schizophrenia. In disorganized schizophrenia, what happens is there is verbal asymmetry, poorly developed ideas are there also. Then you might have seen certain individuals who are roaming around the room, in the road, who are very who are not at all well dressed up, whose hairs are very dirty. So, these kind of individuals can be said to be suffering from disorganized schizophrenia. Then another comes in the list is paranoid schizophrenias. So, who are paranoid schizophrenics? They are always preoccupied with one or other set of ideas. That is, somebody is always talking about them, somebody is conspiring about them. So, these people are paranoid schizophrenic. Then we have undifferentiated schizophrenia and the residual schizophrenia also. And in schizophrenia, there is hallucination. Hallucination, that means seeing things that are not there. The primary symptom of schizophrenia are disturbance of thoughts, disturbance of perceptions, disturbance in emotional expressions, disturbance of speech, social withdrawal and low motivation. Then the other psychological disorders that are there in this lesson is psychological disorder, personality disorder, as I have already mentioned. So, let us understand the situation first. Ram Mohan is a clerk in a company, and as a clerk, he was able to do work that was assigned to him. But whenever any situation comes when Ram Mohan was supposed to take a decision, he would not do that. He has a very good rapport with his seniors and he is very submissive. But when his promotion was due, his officers were not sure about his capability for that position because he had the inability to take the decisions. This is an acute case of dependent personality disorder where the individual always show a need to be taken care of and is not able to show any decision making skill. In personality disorder, another form of disorder is known as an antisocial personality disorder. Who is an antisocial person, or who has an antisocial personality disorder? In antisocial personality disorders, individuals show irresponsible and socially disruptive behaviors like destroying the property, stealing, etc. Personality disorder is characterized by maladaptive styles of thinking, feeling and behaving which disturbs the normal functioning of an individual. The two kinds of personality disorders as I just discussed is, number one is dependent personality disorder, which is that the person always the person always shows a need to be taken care of by others who are around him. The person is not able to take care of himself or herself on his or her own, and he would always rely on others. Whenever the time comes to take decision, the person is not able to take decisions. Another in the list in the personality disorders, as already mentioned, is antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder, this is the another set of personality disorders that I just mentioned, which is the person might destroy the property, or the person has a habit of stealing things without any cause. So, there are some individuals who have such kind of these personality disorders, and they are known as antisocial personality disorders. So, dear learners, this was all about today's lesson. But before we end up, I would summarize that what we have done in this lesson. First of all, in this lesson, we could understand that what is normality and what is abnormality, and in this we could understand that there are 7 criteria that would define an individual to be behaving in an abnormal way. Then we discussed that what are the psychological disorders, what disorders are called as psychological disorders and why are they called the psychological disorders. Then in this lesson we could understand that what are the different types of psychological disorders. As you know, we could discuss about the schizophrenic disorders, the mood disturbances and the personality disorders, panic disorders. There were anxiety disorders, and under those anxiety disorders there were many more disorders like phobic disorders, panic disorders, generalized anxiety disorders. We also discussed about the mood disorders, which is bipolar, depression disorders and other kind of mood disorders, and at the end of it we could discuss that what is schizophrenia and what are the different types of personality disorders, in which we talked about the antisocial personality disorders and we also talked about the dependent personality disorders. So, dear learners, this was all about today's program. I hope you have understood the topic well. Thank you.